Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley Podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Like a DC-10, I'm guaranteed to go down. But baby, your black box is the one that I found. I'll give you the gift that keeps on giving. It won't cost you any money. Then she grabbed me by the ears and said, "Kiss me where it smells funny." I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley Podcast.
I'm Guy Pigden. Bloodhound Gang in. Classic. A classic tale of cunnilingus.
That, Bloodhound... Look, I'll tell you who is an undervalued lyricist. Jimmy Pop Ali from Bloodhound Gang. That guy's a fucking genius. His rhymes are actually very clever. Mostly.
There's some witty things in there. Although, if you listen to, if you go back and listen to some of these lyrics, he's super, sort of every reference, every lyric is a reference to what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
So, if you listen to some of the songs now, they're, talking about 90s stuff.
Yeah.
Like Party of Five, Deader Than the Parents,
Yeah.
Party of Five.
Yeah. Luciano Pavarotti on a treadmill.
On a treadmill. He's dead.
He's dead. Not going nowhere. Some chance he will.
He didn't go on a treadmill enough, and he had a heart attack and died. And so, it can, immediately date some of these things in a way that if it just stuck with the cunnilingus situation, it may not have.
I think, though, that he's alright because most of the references are big enough that we still know them. So, for example, Luciano Pavarotti and Party of Five, we still know what that is now. It's not like he's referencing, I don't know, Bewitched or... No. What's one of those...
Bewitched. One
of those sort of not very famous anymore 90s things.
Now, this is a filmmaking podcast. It's a live podcast. I walked in here today depressed because, once again, I thought we weren't going to be drinking alcohol. And then, lo and behold, Harley turned to me with the biggest shit-eating grin. And this is how I know how happy Harley is. If his grin is more or less shit-eating. If it's more shit-eating, then he's really happy. He's really happy about something. He's really chuffed. He's stoked. And if it's less, then he's just moderately amused.
And what about when I'm sad?
I don't pay attention to that, so I don't...
I'm the kind of friend that doesn't pay attention to you when you're sad. I try to avoid you when you're sad.
I try not to be around when you're in that situation.
So good friend, that's good.
So we're drinking a beer because even though it's Dry July, you've been given what's called a hall pass.
Yep. A golden ticket.
Which is like in the movie Hall Pass when you get given a free pass to sleep with someone else. But in this case, it's to have a beer.
And sleep with you.
Yeah.
If I want.
Yeah. Well, do you think
Angie would mind?
Give you that?
Do you think? Do we think that Angie would let me sleep with you?
Yeah.
Nah, she wouldn't. She wouldn't be cool with it.
You don't reckon?
Nah, not at all.
I think she'd be okay with it because it's gay.
Yeah, but I think that she would be we actually had this ties in nicely. Actually, we had a conversation about this the other day about me sodomizing you, Angie and I. No, not you specifically, but it ties in nicely with a story that I was going to tell anyway, which is that there's a bit of a scandal at my work. I'm not going to say where I work, but I work...
You've said it many times, but you're not going to say it this time.
I haven't said it, I don't think. I always avoid it because I don't really want the people on the internet to know where I work, and I don't want my colleagues to have anything to hold against me, you know? I'm being careful.
Okay.
But so I work in broadcasting. I'm always vague about it. I work in broadcasting. Right. You know, you can figure it out if you really try. So I work in broadcasting, right? And there's a presenter at my work. No, actually, there's a gay guy at my work who is on Grindr.
Yep.
the dating app or the hookup app. And the other day he was on Grindr in the building at my work, and it said that there was somebody else on Grindr 20 meters away from him.
And he looked around,
and it was me. no, and so he was like, oh, that's interesting. And so he started messaging this person, and he thought that the person was one of the guests from one of the other shows that gets shot in the building.
Yep.
So he thought it was maybe an audience member or someone that had come along to see a show get shot. So he was messaging backwards and forwards with this guy, and then he asked him to send a picture of his face. So the guy sent a picture of his face through, and it turns out to be one of the presenters on our channel, and he's straight, apparently, and he's got a girlfriend.
Scandal.
So and because he chose the wrong person to grind a message to, because this particular guy
picked the wrong person to grind.
Well, he loves a good gossip too. This fella, like this is not like this if it had been me, if I was the gay guy that found him on Grindr, I probably would have just, I would have thought it was funny. I would have told someone. I would have told you. I would have told some people. But like, this has been announced.
Yeah, you wouldn't have told the whole.
Yeah, this has been announced
damn place
to the building. So this poor,
presenter,
bi-curious or gay curious or whatever he is, presenter,
grind curious
is now like outed at work. So I was talking to Angie about that the other day, and I kind of thought that she would be all right with it if I swung both ways. Like if I was bisexual, I thought that what difference does it make, right? If I'm in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, then it doesn't really matter if I'm attracted to just women or just men or women and men.
Yep.
Either way, I can't fuck them, so I'm in a monogamous relationship, right? So I thought, well, what's the big deal? But she was like, no, I wouldn't like that at all, because I guess because I would be
twice the competition.
Well, twice the competition, but also I from a man I could get something that I couldn't get from her.
A big fat old dick.
A big fat dick up my ass.
Hey, what? Or vice versa, depending.
Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, she wouldn't really be cool with it if you and I just had a quickie. I don't think.
Right.
So get that out of your head.
Get that out of my brain.
Just get that thought out of your head. It's not happening, all right, Mister?
Never gonna happen, buddy.
All right,
dream on. Oh, that's interesting.
But so and also just to hark back quickly to the golden ticket thing, for my sponsors, I do have a golden ticket. Angie bought it for me because she wants to drink beer tonight somewhere, and all her friends. She doesn't have any friends, basically. And
she wants to. Oh shit! Nah, that's not gonna work. I was gonna say she wants to drink beer and kick ass. And she's done a lot of ass kicking already.
So she needs to drink beer now.
Yeah.
Should we move along?
It doesn't really work as good when it's beer and chew gum. It's from a film. You know.
We know. What do you got there?
So if you recall the last episode, we left on a cliffhanger. You probably don't recall that. I'd say 100% you do not recall we left on a cliffhanger.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I do. You were going to talk about... I thought you were talking to the listeners. You were going to talk about how trolling is now illegal in New Zealand.
Oh, you could. You've been doing your research.
No, I knew before already. Come on, man. You didn't break that story.
No, I mean, you've been doing your research of remembering what we talked about in the podcast last time.
Right. Well, it was less than a week ago.
So, yeah, basically it's the Harmful Digital Communications Bill. The bill creates a regime under which digital communications causing serious emotional distress are subject to an escalating regime that starts as negotiation, mediation, or persuasion, but reaches up to creating the offences of not complying with an order and causing harm by posting digital communication. The bill covers posts that are racist, sexist, or show religious intolerance, along with hassling people over disability or sexual orientation. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I do feel like there should be some accountability, because when you are cyberbullying somebody, there is a very real victim. And nowadays we're so connected to the internet that if you do have some sort of stalker, hacker, psycho person harassing you on all of your platforms, and you can't have a Facebook page because this person's going to message every person on your Facebook page, sending them pictures of nude pictures of you, or whatever it is that this person has on you. It does seem like there should be some sort of legal ramifications for that, and it seems like that's the type of thing that authorities should have the ability to control. But of course, the big fear here is that it's going to be abused. So, you're having an argument with someone online. Next thing you know, the police knock on your door and say, you've been harassing people. And it's like, no. Also, there's that whole freedom of speech thing. It's like, well, you got to, sometimes you've got to say stuff, or sometimes by saying these things, you work through a problem, and you can come up with some sort of conclusion at the end of, your argument, even if you get heated and angry, whereas now, you get heated and angry and you might actually be liable for something, which just seems a bit fucking silly.
That's the thing, because serious emotional distress, it's a very broad brushstroke, isn't it?
There are so many fucking pussies out there as well.
Because,
they get upset. They get offended about silly bullshit. Did we? I don't know if we told people this. I didn't. I need to find it. Unfortunately, there was a complaint about my snake ad. The ad that so there's an ad at the moment for Co-op Bank on TV, and I get eaten by a snake.
Yep.
And I will find you the quote, the exact quote of a lady that complained. But the point is that people will just complain about anything and be offended by anything.
Well, that's the problem. Is criticism, like criticism itself, has the ability to cause serious emotional distress.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I was caused serious emotional distress by a review of the zombie film.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to write them up and send the cops around to tell them, and that's the thing is, like, actually that could cover so many things.
Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe we should use this. We'll send somebody around to fucking, what's that cunt's name again?
Was it Daniel Rutledge?
Daniel Rutledge. That's that fucking small dick little bitch. We'll send the police around to his place. He's harassing us.
And that's the thing, so.
No offense to people with small dicks.
Yeah.
You're way better than Daniel Rutledge.
And so it is kind of like a line so fine that it almost doesn't exist. In that kind of phraseology, whereas proving something's racist is quite easy. Religious intolerance, I guess. Sexism, well, there's a lot of stuff that's, some people say is sexist and some people say is not. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
So also, there does seem to be an implication that this has been passed by a bunch of politicians who are sick of people insulting them on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's really where it comes from, so they can kind of shut that down as John Key can shut people taking the piss out of him
so
and putting on links on Twitter.
John Key, stop bullshitting me.
That lead to kind of things that make him look bad.
Yeah.
And it is, quite big brotherish in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I think the wording of it would have to be quite dramatically changed for it to sort of work in the way it's intended, because obviously, yes, cyberbullying is a real problem.
Yeah.
Much more so also going forward. And all that stuff, and there is no recourse, I had an issue on Facebook where someone was saying some mean things about me to a couple of my friends.
I remember that.
It was a bit of a hairy situation, and I was like, how can I stop this person?
Yeah.
How can I stop him? And basically, even to complain to Facebook, there wasn't an easy avenue. It took a lot of Googling and searching to kind of send to Facebook and say, hey, this person is kind of besmirching my good name.
Yeah.
And you want them to stop. And I never heard back from them either, the fuckers. That's, how many shits they gave.
Yeah.
And, that was a real bit of a pickle. So, managing to stop those things is a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Now, do you have the...
Yeah, so I've got the quote from... So basically... I don't know. I'll post it again as a comment below this podcast. But so the commercial I'm in at the moment, so Co-op Bank, it's really not that bad. It's just funny.
Tongue in cheek.
It's very tongue in cheek.
You're alive at the end.
Yep, exactly.
You're having a laugh about it.
Yep, exactly. So I don't know if you've seen this ad. Co-op Bank, meet Jeff the snake, and I get eaten by a snake. And so somebody I know. Somebody that works at media at TV3 who said that they got a complaint, and here is the complaint quote from some old lady or some person. It's definitely a lady. This advert for Cooperative Bank is in bad taste and absolutely disgraceful for that hour of the night. A snake eating someone? It has made me so angry, especially when I have problems with my son who is 9 and has nightmares.
You know she said it in exactly that way.
That's how she said it, I'm sure. So
it is completely ridiculous. And also, like, when I read that, I was like, well, slap your fucking retarded son. Yeah. Slap his face. Because what is the matter with him that he's like, oh, mummy, the snake ate the man and I'm going to have nightmares. You go, well, son, don't worry. It's a joke and it's not real. Yeah. You understand the difference between real life and not real life, don't you, son? And he goes, well, yes.
I do now because you told me.
And you go, well, that's the difference. This is a fake ad, used to poke. I mean, look, at 9, you could explain that joke to a kid. I'm sure they get it. Kids are smart.
Oh, look, my sister is 7 and she's seen it.
Yeah. And she's not going to have nightmares about it.
She's fine. But do you know what? It sort of says, especially when we have problems with my son who's 9 and has nightmares, it doesn't sound like the kid has had nightmares specifically about this ad. It sounds like he just generally has nightmares.
Stupid little kid who's having nightmares, pissing his pants all the time.
And now she's
going to lump that in. She's going to lump in her poor parenting with this issue about someone being eaten by a snake.
Yeah, and now this little pussy's going to end up and be one of the running the country for us one day. He's going to be, this is the next generation of kids coming up. Can't spank their bum. Can't tell them off properly. Like, this is where New Zealand's going.
Gotta coddle them because they're having nightmares about Jeff the snake.
Oh, so they don't get bullied online anymore. You can't spank their bums.
How are you going to harden them up?
You can't spank their bums. You can't leave them at home alone. I don't even think that sometimes kids aren't even allowed to walk home from school by themselves. I think that can be a little bit frowned upon.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about this, right? But there was a pedophile on the loose at our around by our school.
Yeah, you did tell me this, but I don't know if you told me on the podcast or not.
So basically, this was back when I was sort of maybe 7 or 8. I was in primary school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the end of primary school. It was a couple of years to go in primary school. And basically, a pedophile had escaped from the Waitakere Hospital, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he had approached a couple of children without wearing any pants. This is in my school, right? Yeah. After school.
How did he get from Waitakere to bloody St. Leonard's?
Yeah.
So, what's a long way to go?
With a car.
That's a long way to go with no pants.
He got in his car. He found a car. And he tried to encourage one of my friends to get in the car, which she didn't.
Yeah.
And I basically did that twice, I think.
Right.
And the police then came by. And I believe the police had a bit of a speech at the school about it. Okay? And then what happened?
So if a man with no pants asks you to get into his car,
don't do it.
Make sure you say no. And everyone was like, well, duh.
Well, it's kind of weird because, at the time we didn't really understand the sexual implications of it.
Yeah.
We were just like, why would he have no pants? And also, why would he want to hang out with us kids? What a weird guy.
Yeah.
That was the thing. We never really, they never at all made it clear that it was like, he's going to try and fuck you.
Yeah.
Or, inappropriately molest you. That was never really kind of laid out, which it probably should have been. We would have understood that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, imagine some parents would be quite upset if the police came to school and explained the birds and the bees to their kid, because I guess the police would be like,
and I guess that's why they didn't.
What do we tell the kids here? Because we can't say, okay, so you kids have been learning about sex, right?
Well, it's just he wants to do naughty touching. I don't know. But,
yeah, naughty touching, that might work.
But, basically they were like, so don't, obviously, if you see him, go to the nearest house and call the police. Mm-hmm. And they're like, and don't walk home by yourself. Walk home with a friend.
Yeah.
That was their advice. There's a pedophile on the loose. Walk home with a friend.
Yeah, another 8-year-old.
Guess what I did the next day? I walked home, which is it's probably a half-hour walk from my place to the school to my place. I walked home with a friend some of the way, and then my friend went to their house, and then I walked by myself the rest of the way.
Were you scared?
No, not really, but it was the talk of the town. We were like, man, this is weird. Do you think he's going to... Well, we're just going to run. We just make a runner. We're talking... we were excited by it. It was an exciting adventure. Yeah. There was this weird guy around, and, he could try and kid us, and what are we going to do? I'm going to run. Yeah. I'm going to punch him in the face, know? And it's but the very fact that my parents were like, you know what? We're going to just pick you up from school for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. They didn't do that. No. They're like, hey, good luck with that pedophile. Yeah. We'll see you at home. Yeah. Now, just remember what the policeman told you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the difference between parenting in the good old days.
The 80s, and early 90s. Yeah.
I used to walk a long way. I was alone, as not all the time, but often enough. It wasn't a big deal.
But, that was a legitimate threat of a pedophile, and now we're talking about the proposed threat of a maybe potential pedophile that has never ever been, is what most people are guarding against. Yeah. Which is, a little bit crazy.
Well, it's that fear. It's that, the fear that they, build up in the media and all that. It's all doom and gloom when you turn on the TV. You assume that your neighbour wants to cut your throat and rape your baby.
Well, also, I think one scary thing is this, right? When you're a kid, you are constantly putting yourself at quite great risk of dying, right? And you don't really realize it. Whether that's climbing a tree or doing, irresponsible things.
Like running across the road, I did that a bit.
Walking along the side of a cliff face. Yeah. You're doing silly shit all the time. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, oh, well, hopefully... nothing bad happens, because that's part of growing up. And I think there was we kind of accepted that at one point, where we were like, look, we pray to God nothing happens to the poor boy, but let him climb a tree. Because I used to climb trees, and climbing trees is fun. And now it's like, well, just don't let him climb a tree. Problem solved. Risk averse, risk removed. And is that affecting people's sort of childhood experience, and also how they become or become mature, how they learn about those things, learn about danger, is maybe changed and skewed, maybe not for the better, but it's one of those things. Is obviously as a parent, the idea that you're like, well, off you go, son. I know that you could die any day because you're a little idiot and you do stupid things and you do irresponsible things. You don't really understand the weight of your decisions and the consequences sometimes. And I'm just going to trust that you'll probably be fine, because most people, 99% of people, are fine. And you're not going to be that kid that wound up drowned, or you're not going to be the kid that did this thing. That's a hard choice to make as a parent. Yeah, it's a big thing to make as a parent.
Yeah, well, I guess I can't really comment until I'm in that position. But I like to believe I'll be a fairly liberal parent with their freedoms, not with the breaking of the rules. Don't you be breaking my rules, you little shit! I'll put you in the closet again.
Put you in the Harry Potter closet. So
now that we've concluded the old fart ramble part of the podcast,
well, going back a little bit to the Harmful Communications Act, right? So I have a question here from a beautiful young woman. Yeah, quite sexy. She has a very good question.
Okay.
Now this is she says. It seems like every second week there is a scandal, public outrage linked to comedians and what they do and say, censor, and even calls for heads to roll. The Fudge Packer gag by Clarkson and Hammond, Dom Harvey, and the Crotch Shot for Dancing with the Stars, and the prank by the radio DJs a few years back and subsequent suicide of a royal nurse. What is your take on this? When does edgy comedy turn nasty? Would have to be censored, or is it just PC gone mad? Do comedians have a responsibility to be moral ambassadors? What does it mean for you guys at Pigville when you get much more famous and much more influential?
Okay, well, firstly, what happened again with that nurse?
So basically what happened with the nurse, right, is...
I do remember this, but I forgot.
It's actually kind of a weird and crazy story, and I'm probably getting it a little bit wrong, but essentially these radio DJs called up this hospital trying to get through to the Duchess of someone who was there, and they basically tricked the nurse on call to putting them through. Yeah. And... and then she was super embarrassed after the fact and committed suicide and wrote a note saying part of the reason I'm doing this is because of the reaction to me being tricked and these DJs prank and it's their fault I'm dead. Yeah. So that's what happened there. Right. The Fudge Packer thing is basically Jeremy Clarkson and the other guy, can't remember his name, stood outside a fudge packing... I like it already. Yeah, you like it already. Plant, not plant, but it's basically said, fudge packer on the front. Yeah. And they go, and they didn't say finally, they were like, finally working at, finally got to work here or something like that. Like, and then just standing and it just says fudge packers behind them. They don't even say we're fudge packers. Yeah. They're just like, and then there was this whole Twitter thing of like, oh, you're calling people fudge packers. Oh, that's incredibly derogatory. Oh, Jeremy Clarkson, your tasteless ways.
Well, what's the big deal anyway? Because you can still be a fudge packer when you fuck a woman in the ass.
That's true.
It's the same concept.
He should have pointed that out. That's a great point.
Yeah. So fuck that. No, look, I reckon that comedians have a responsibility to
be funny.
Be funny. No, they are the social commentators. Yes. And so their job is to basically, that's their job to do that stuff, to kind of put people out a little bit, and sometimes if they go too far, well, they'll find out about it, and they'll learn a lesson about it, and some other comedian will come along and poke fun at them. Like that I do think it's a great thing that comedians should push the envelope and test out what freedom of speech really means. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, look, the first thing I thought about with this question is I thought about, where we're at, which we talked about, the age of outrage, everyone having a shit about everything, and how sick it made me. And then I also thought about Borat. Now, Borat came out maybe... it's been a while. It's been over 5 years now. So it's definitely quite some time ago now. And it's just before we got to this stage of ridiculousness. It's just before everyone started getting on the internet and go, you should apologise for everything. How dare you do this? And if you look at Borat, it's an incredible comedy film. It was very unique at the time. And basically involves this guy, this making fun of this Middle Eastern guy, who, among other things, there's incest jokes, there's rape jokes,
there's pedophile
jokes, and all of that stuff for me,
gay jokes
within that context was completely fine. It was completely fine, and I don't think that film would be made now because of all these people. Yeah. These people on the internet would just, you could imagine Borat being released, day 1 or day 2, Twitter blowing up, because Twitter wasn't really a thing back then. Yeah. And then them kind of going, Sony has decided to retract the general release of Borat due to complaints about the content.
Maybe, but, do you think that people really give a shit what cockheads on Twitter say? you know, I think that Sony might be like, awesome, I'm loving this publicity. Everyone's going to go see this. Fucking excellent. Like, I think that a lot of people...
There's two different ways to go on it.
Well, I think that a lot of people on Twitter and on, you know, all these bloggers and stuff like that, I think that, you know, one of the smart things to do if you're a blogger or a guy trying to get a lot of Twitter followers is to take something that's current and flip the coin and then champion the exact opposite of it. So, this guy's popular for this. Okay, well, I'm going to say that negative about him. Or this guy's in the trouble with the media for this. Okay, well, I'm going to champion him. You know, and I think that there are people out there just making careers out of this. So it's like, okay, cool. So what's happened? You know, this comedian said that. Or I'm going to jump on there. I'm going to be the first person online to condemn it. You know, and that gets them a following. You know, but I don't think that important people really give a shit. I think that a bunch of idiots are following this one troll.
A lot of people have been forced to apologise recently. And I'm not just talking about...
No, but like Dom Harvey, right?
Yeah.
So Dom Harvey...
That's a good example, but I'm not really talking about him.
Well,
yes.
But the situation, right, is that a radio host... So some girl who's not a celebrity was on Dancing with the Stars... and while she was dancing, she flashed her leg up, you know, and it showed her panties, which often happens in these dancing shows, believe me. And and it showed her panties, but not even her panties. It's probably that leotard or whatever they wear underneath their little skirts. And so it showed that. But this sort of idiot radio host, who is a sort of a notorious idiot, Dom Harvey, put a screenshot of it on the internet and said, do you remember?
Yeah, something about Crystal showing what art's missing out on.
Okay, so basically it was an objectifying, dumb thing to put on the internet. If I put it on the internet, no one would give a fuck. But because he's a celebrity, everyone was up in arms about it. But, like, the thing is that it's such a small industry here in New Zealand, the entertainment industry, it's such a small industry that the guy shouldn't have posted it. Like, it was dumb to post it. So he had to apologise, and it's good that he did.
And remove it.
And that's okay though. Like I'm alright with that because it's like if I took a picture of some girl's panties at my work, you know, if it just happened to be that she flashed her panties at the right time and the video was and I had a video camera going and then I posted that picture up, it'd be inappropriate, wouldn't it?
It would be.
I've been in trouble for that before.
Now I will say a couple of things about it because they did say it was sexist, right? And in context of just that, I thought it was sexist too, right? That he did that. It's more objectifying.
Yeah.
I agree that it's much more objectifying than it is sexist.
Yeah.
But, you know, feminists to the rescue were like, you know, like, this is so sexist, blah, blah, blah. But what he pointed out himself, and it was a very valid point, was that he'd done exactly the same thing with a guy, like 2 weeks earlier on Dancing with the Stars. So he'd posted a photo of a dude with his cock bulge, and it said some other joke similar to that.
Yeah.
So he'd done exactly the same thing for guys. And obviously sexism is about inequality and, you know, treating guys better, you know, and treating women worse. He treated them both the same. Yeah. He objectified them both and he made shitty jokes both about the same thing.
Yeah.
And then the issue then became, okay, well, he had to remove the... he deleted it after finding out she didn't like the joke.
Yeah.
Apologized. And as you said, I think that's completely fine and necessary. But then there was this whole, how it became Crotch-gate, was that he was like, so I did this. And then she goes, I reject his apology. I reject it.
What a cunt. Honestly, what a cunt.
I reject
who rejects an apology?
I reject his apology and demand he be fired from his job.
Oh, what a cunt. So she wants to ruin the guy's life because he posted a joke. She's on a fucking reality show. People are going to post that type of shit.
Well, I mean...
harden the fuck up.
And look, I kind of got involved in a thread with our friend, Charlie, about this because she posted an article about this.
Yeah.
And I got sucked in. I shouldn't have even got sucked into it. I was angry at myself that I got sucked into commenting and talking about this silliness.
Yeah.
But, you know, she was like, well, why should she accept his apology, you know? And it's like, well, here's the thing. The world needs empathy.
Yeah.
The one of the biggest gifts that we can do is forgive people.
Yeah.
In all walks of life, you know, and this is the silliness of it. Like, you know, there's the thing is, like, if he didn't do that, someone else would have done that, you know, like, you know, because she said, well, is it all right if someone just posts a shot of my crotch? And that's what you said earlier, right? But the big difference being is she is on a public television show flashing her crotch. She knows she's flashing her crotch. She knows that's part of her routine. She knows this is one of the most watched television shows in New Zealand, right? So she knows that what she's doing on it is public consumption.
Yeah.
Now, she didn't know that someone was going to freeze frame her thing, and that shouldn't have necessarily happened. But you also have to accept, for instance, like Gone Girl. Have you seen Gone Girl?
Yeah.
So Ben Affleck's dick, right? That's a GIF now, right? Ben Affleck's dick in the shower as he turns around is a GIF on the internet.
Right.
He just has to accept that.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't say, like, hey, is everybody just going to freeze frame my dick turning round?
Yeah.
No, I don't want necessarily that to happen. That's objectifying me.
Well, and also, it doesn't matter anyway, because when you put yourself in the public sphere, if you flash your panties in the public sphere, well, that's public now.
It is, and that's the thing, and I think that is, I guess, my sort of reply to that is, you know, you're not necessarily saying that, like, oh, people should do that and blow it up and make a joke of it, because they shouldn't, but you also have to accept that people, you know, you're putting yourself out there in that way.
I don't think that people shouldn't have done it. I just think that he was a dumbass for doing it because of his position as a public figure on a family radio station. The guy shouldn't have done it. He should have known better, because he's in the entertainment industry. He might have to interview her next week. You know, like it was dumb on his behalf, but I still think that anybody on the internet could have done it. I could have done it.
Yeah,
you know, and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Someone would have done it, and it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it was him, so it was a big deal.
Exactly, but what a petty bitch to demand that he lose his job. Well, it's one thing to say, I don't accept the apology and I'm just a bit of a dick. That's one thing. But it's another thing to be like, I want you to lose your livelihood and all that you have worked towards.
Oh, well, I guess it just seems disingenuous to be like, I reject this because I'm taking a stand for feminism, right?
Fuck feminism.
because you know, it's not really about feminism, because he already did this with a guy. So basically she's like, I reject this because I'm taking a stand for objectification.
Right.
Right. But and that is a much shallower thing to reject an apology for. Yeah. And also it's just like, so you don't accept his apology, and what?
How is that even...
You know, like, where do we go from here? So we just don't... Like, there's only one thing he can do, which is apologise. It's the only thing he can do.
Yeah.
He can remove the content and say he's sorry for doing it, right? That is the only thing he can do. Obviously, there's been a bunch of articles written about how he's an idiot for doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he looks bad, he's apologised, and he's taken the thing down. What more can any of us do when we fuck up but apologise? And, you know, there's degrees of seriousness. If this was racist, you know, like super racist, and it had been, he was like, hey man, I love the Nazis. Yeah. How about those Nazis? They were amazing, weren't they? Well, why aren't we all more on the Nazi bandwagon anymore? You know, that is a thing to sort of... That's fireable. That's a reason to fire someone. A joke in poor taste that you take down and apologise for is not. I just don't... And the very fact that... And this is what worries me, is that this is some conversation. A million articles are written about this. There's a huge scandal. It's called Crotch-gate. It shouldn't be called Crotch-gate. It shouldn't be called anything. It shouldn't be a newsworthy piece, really.
Yeah, well, that's what the internet does, though. We make news out of nothing.
But, you know, we have that type of problem, which isn't a problem and isn't a real thing, and was dealt with as appropriately as it could be. And then you have something like these people getting shot. Just recently, I don't know if you read about this, but at the premiere of this new film, Trainwreck, there was like 7 people shot. It was similar to the Batman shootings a while back. And that is likely to get less airplay, you know, than this Crotch-gate thing over here. And, you know, what we should be talking about is, like, how did this thing happen? How can we fix it? And, you know, what... And, like, the issues surrounding that.
Sure.
And that... But, like, that type of news will get swept under the rug, so we can all have an opinion about a non-news thing.
Yeah.
And that is what worries me. about the whole thing because it just seems so ridiculous. And that's the thing I think about comedians is like, look, as comedians, it's a comedian's job, gallows humor. That's the whole thing is like to poke fun at things that shouldn't be, that are somewhat inappropriate, whether that's dying, whether that's cancer, whether that's anything. It's to say like, here's this horrible dark side of humanity. We're bringing some levity to it.
Yeah.
We're taking the power away from it by making you laugh about it. And we're like deconstructing it humorously. And if now everyone jumps on and goes, oh, well, I don't appreciate that because I'm fat, or I don't appreciate it because of this or that or whatever it is, it suddenly diminishes the comedian's humor to do the most important thing that the comedian should do. And I do really worry about that. And I think we had someone was having a conversation about a podcast. You love George Carlin, right? And his and they were saying that maybe George Carlin couldn't have done a lot of his comedy in this climate that it's in because it's all about that.
Yeah.
And people would just be outraged at him all the time. And I think we need to, as a society, lighten the fuck up. And kind of start like worrying about real things, and stop getting outraged at everything. And we just got to stop demanding apologies for everything.
I think the issue is as well.
We've got nothing better to do. That's the issue.
Well, no,
life is okay.
It's not just that. It's also that 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, however long ago, the only people you heard from were somewhat influential and somewhat educated. They were journalists.
Yeah.
They were people that had made a career, and now you listen to them. You turn on the news, you saw their face, and you got their opinion on something. And so the opinions you heard were actually kind of right or informed at least in some way. Whereas nowadays, with Twitter, every fucking idiot out there, every white trash, South Dunedin mum out there has an opinion, and they jump on and they go, oh, boo hoo, I don't like this. And you go, and it's like normally, back 10 years ago, it'd be like, yeah, well, good for you. Who gives a shit?
Shut up.
You don't know dick.
You don't know anything.
Go,
so why
hurry up and raise your 5 kids.
Whereas, and this is the journalist takes that quote and puts this as part of their article.
Exactly. It's lowest common denominator business. That's what it is. It's all of these dumb people suddenly have influence that they never had before.
Well, even the fact that we're calling this Dancing with the Stars thing Crotch-gate, we're comparing it to Watergate.
Yeah, but that's a thing. There's been so many gates.
Nipple-gates. Yeah,
Nipple-gate.
But the thing is,
but also that ball in American football. There was like a deflate gate or something.
But that's the thing is, like, we're basically comparing like a really monumental, serious thing in history where a president had to stand down.
But that's the joke.
But it's not a joke.
Well, no. Now it's not a joke because nobody, because it's been done too often. But when it was Nipple-gate, it was funny.
It was.
That was the joke. The joke is there's this monumental, historic moment, and we're talking about nipples. We're talking about Janet Jackson's nipple or someone's nipple.
I just think that's been lost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure that most people that use the term Crotch-gate don't actually know what Watergate is.
Yeah.
Now, I do actually think that feminism is very important for the advancement of humanity.
Yeah.
I just think that what she's doing is not really feminism or supporting feminism either. Like, what would be much better would be is if she said, I accept your apology. I hope you learned a lesson from this, and I hope we can all move on. And, I am a good role model for other women.
And I think that's
or people in general.
Like, that's the thing about, changing people's perceptions. You can't do it. It's not something like, I think Barack Obama is a great example of someone that has passively changed things very slowly for the better. But he, in the face of, like, at every turn, he could have kind of got up in arms and said, fuck you all, you fucking idiots. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, not as the president, he couldn't.
But you know what I mean? Like, in the sense that getting irate about all these things that he's been rejected for instance, like, I'm sure he's going to be fuming about the gun law thing that was vetoed in Congress after this new shooting, and he's going to be talking about it. But the thing is that he has always gone on and focused on, he's like, okay, we didn't get everything, but we got this, and this is very important, and here's why, and this is very positive for the American people. And that's been basically his stance as he's, gradually changed things for the better. And that's the same thing with feminism, is if you, jump off and say, fuck all the dudes, and this is, this is just another classic example of women being treated like shit and men lording it over them, then suddenly you have people like us who are not at all, what we perceive to be sexist, go, well, hang on a tick. You're making us sexist. You're turning us sexist because we don't agree with that. We don't agree with that extremist approach to it.
Yeah. Whereas
if you took it a little more subtle, a little more tact, and said, apologize, suck it up, and I seem like the bigger person, I seem more mature. She seems much better than this person, and now she seems very petty for not doing that, and that has caused been very negative, where she could have just basically had all these articles written about how she was wronged, seemed like she was a really amazing person that was kind of willing to accept someone's stupidity pointed out to their face and then walk away, as opposed to go, and now he should be fired, and his job should be on the line for this. And then there was this other thing where she said apparently that she wanted compensation for it.
Oh, fuck off.
And that she wanted, so it was over a hotel bill, she wanted MediaWorks to pay the hotel bill.
Right.
And now that's ambiguous, maybe she wasn't talking about that specifically. She did want MediaWorks to cover that, but maybe it wasn't related.
Right.
So we can't say for sure, but if she did, that just makes things worse. But so there we go. That's our take on that. We've covered it. We've solved it. We've solved sexism. We've solved inequality. We've solved everything.
Yeah. And just worth mentioning, the reason why we're not covering the latest shooting over here as much as the reason why Crotch-gate is taken off more is in part as well because it's the same old story in America. It's the same old. People are getting shot. It's because your gun laws are fucking stupid. What are you doing? It's so obvious. People say there was a meme the other day. It was like a gun is a tool, just like a hammer or a hatchet. And it's like, yeah, okay. And then it was like the tool is only as bad as the man that is wielding it. And it's like, yeah, well, the thing is, there's a lot of bad men in the world. Yeah, there's a lot of bad men in the world, and there's a lot of mentally ill people.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense for these people to be able to get a hold of guns, as they want to.
Yeah.
And it's just so every time there's another shooting in America, it's horrible, but the rest of the world's kind of like, oh yeah, another one, eh? It's becoming farcical now. There's so many. It used to just be kind of like Columbine was kind of the famous one.
Yes.
And then now there's so many that, it's like, oh yeah, I've forgotten most of them.
Yeah.
Like guys, there's something wrong with the very core of your culture. There's something that you really, really need to fix.
Yeah.
It's this dumb gun thing.
Yeah.
It's really obvious. It's painfully obvious.
To the rest of the world.
And to the smart people in America. And there is a big movement, a big anti-gun movement in America. Well, not anti-gun, but just, common sense gun control. So that's why, it's another reason why it's not big news over here is because, it's another cinema shooting? Well, we've already had that.
Yeah.
We already had a kindergarten one. We've already had a high school one.
What we haven't had is someone post a photo of someone's crotch and make a comment on it. We haven't had that.
Exactly.
Okay, so have you got any questions for the listeners? And while you look for some questions, now we have been meaning. Should we take a quick photo for the podcast while we're doing the podcast? We'll just take a quick selfie.
Yeah. Hold up. Just let me get my hat.
No, we'll take it now because I've got my camera ready. We'll just take it now. Don't look for your hat.
Well, just hang on. Just let me get. Hang on. I'm just gonna get my hat.
You don't need your hat. No, we're just gonna take a quick photo, man. It's just a photo.
No, there we go. Got it.
What's with the hat?
Well, I just don't want people to see me without my hat on.
Why not?
But just because, okay? It's just because I don't want I don't want to be ashamed of my big bald head. Because I don't want people leaving comments saying, "Oh, careful, there's a disgusting, creepy, bald perv lurking in the back of shot." Or, "Oh, better check the exposure because the top of Harley's head's all blown out." And, "Oh, look, there's Jimmy Savile." And, "Ooh, what a bold, disgusting freak."
Okay.
I'm still coming to terms with losing my hair.
Well, it's interesting you mention that because I want to talk about a couple of things. We have one of the podcast episodes, right, is titled "The Bald Man's Equality Movement."
It is, yep.
Now, I had a little look at the stats. That is our least popular. That is our least popular by quite a long way.
Is it really?
Yes, episode. So what it means is basically people, the public, our listeners, are disgusted by baldness.
Baldness, yeah.
And they are very unhappy, and they don't want to know anything about it. They don't feel sorry for you, and they're just like, God, will he get off this bullshit already?
Yeah.
But look, it is a very important thing, and I want to talk about the bald man's non-equality movement because you have recently been up for a couple of roles, right? Yeah. In a couple of shorts. One was a web series, one was a short, right?
Yeah.
Good auditions.
Yeah, and I'm currently waiting to hear for a third audition too, another short.
Now, let's point out a couple of things here. Harley Neville is a fucking star, all right? He has starred in a feature film which has been released that all these dropkicks have watched. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, so, so basically, I was in this film, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Yeah. Lead actor,
and then once the film came out, I kind of hoped that maybe it would open some doors for me, as an actor, they'd be banging down the door, Shortland Street would be calling, Yeah. And then, so, first audition I had since the film came out.
Now, no one was calling as well.
No one was calling.
You called them.
So I heard about a no-budget, first-time director short film being shot, and I contacted him saying, "Can I please audition for your film?"
You go, "Hello, Harley Neville here, star of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, feature film being released in New Zealand and Australia.
Rave reviews overseas.
You can see it in cinemas right now. Big film, rave reviews for my performance. Probably the best reviewed thing about the whole film has been my performance. Mm-hmm. So do you can I audition?" And they say, yeah, sure, that sounds good.
Got an audition. Audition went well.
Yeah.
In both cases, with the web series as well.
Yeah. Now, and both of these people also watched the film.
Both of these people not only had seen I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, but both of them saw it in the cinema with an audience, really good screenings.
A rowdy
screenings,
crowd.
Exactly, like great screenings with, really good emotion and good sort of vibe on the night.
People were completely into it.
Yeah.
They saw you. And so this star has this is basically the equivalent of Tom Cruise doing an indie movie.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here.
That's what I'm saying.
Big star comes down from his pedestal, from his throne, and he goes, "Look, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of my magic with you commoners for a little while because I want to do some interesting, diverse stuff." Yeah. And that's what you did with these two. Mm-hmm. These two no-name losers. And what happened?
Neither of them wanted me.
Neither of them
wanted me.
Wanted the lead actor of a major motion picture. I guarantee you, there's no other lead actors of a major motion picture.
Oh, probably not.
Auditioning for these roles.
Almost certainly not.
Right. So the only man that has, showed that he can carry the weight of a whole film on his shoulders was you. Mm-hmm. And you were there and saying, "Look, guys, this guy, obviously, in fact, we should just chime in with a little review. My girlfriend's mum watched you."
Okay.
And she watched you in I Survived a Zombie Holocaust and loved your performance. Yeah. I was chatting to her about it, and she's Japanese, and but she was like, "Oh yes, this is my Japanese." Okay, this is
I'm ready. I'm waiting. We're all waiting. We're all waiting for your.
But she's like, "Oh, Harley, so very good. Most people try to be funny on film, but they're not funny. But what Harley do is art."
I like that.
Art. She called what you do art.
Yeah.
Right? That's how impressed she was. That's how enamored she was by your performance. This is a middle-aged Japanese woman that has no business watching a zombie comedy with I don't want to give away any spoilers, but basically, so, and that was her takeaway from the whole thing. That's what she enjoyed most about it, was your work.
But these two guys
don't
want me.
These two guys with a no budget, no name, no experience,
don't want me.
Don't want you. And yet,
it's obvious why.
You have to ask why.
Well, it's obvious why.
And the immediate answer is, don't like shinies.
Don't like shinies.
Not on board with shinies. They're
this is a no shiny zone. Shinies, shinies, you sit at the back of the bus. So
that's basically it. And like essentially, we sort of joked about it. They were like,
let's be honest. If I had a head of hair, because I was going for like these lead roles, right? Now, if I had a head of hair,
there would be no question.
I really feel like I'd be very qualified to be. I feel like I did a good audition.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got the right amount of experience.
Yeah.
I'm obviously proactive because I contacted them.
Yeah.
They've seen that I can act. They've seen my work on the big screen in front of a very appreciative audience.
Yeah. They know.
Didn't get the role. Why not?
They know.
Why not, motherfuckers?
They know your caliber. And they were literally like, the thing is, he's bald. So we can hardly have the lead guy a fucking shiny. It would look weird. Imagine his bald head acting against all these other heads of hair.
Yeah,
that would just be inappropriate.
Because in both of them as well. Well, in particular, the short film, there is a love interest sort of situation as well.
This is just not believable.
It's
that
just
a bald man could romance a woman.
It's just not plausible that a bald man would be having sex. It's just not realistic. I'm worried that the audience is going to be taken out of the reality of it.
We're going to shatter the illusion of the story if we have a baldy doing this.
Yeah.
And you missed out, and so
fuck feminism.
Yeah.
This is a real problem.
Yeah,
people.
baldism.
Anti-shiny rhetoric.
Anti-shiny sentiment.
Yes.
Hair sympathizers.
Yes.
You think you've got it bad, ladies? Like, just spirit of thought for Harley.
Yeah, walk a mile in my shoes, man. Jesus.
But I thought that was good.
Well, I'm actually waiting for my rejection from a third one as well, which was also a short film, which, once again, it was like a love interest kind of situation. It's a love story.
Yeah.
And, I'm this lead guy. I'm supposed to be, I was going for this lead guy role, and I just don't see it happening. I just don't see them being like, we'll pick the bald one.
We'll pick the charismatic guy who acted the best and clearly can do this really well. Because he's bald.
Yeah. So...
This is
the world we live in.
Yeah. It's not pretty. I also just want to mention, talking about I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, I got trolled, speaking of hair, I got trolled by my barber today.
Yeah?
This is the second time he's trolled me about the film.
You're right.
Because he knows, we go in, I chat, I talk about how I made this feature film.
Yeah.
He sort of asked me about it when I come in. And like this time I was like, oh, look, I'm going to, the film festival, one of the film festivals. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like,
are you going? Oh, you were going to the New Zealand Film Festival.
Yeah, New Zealand Film Festival is on right now.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, yeah, bet there's no zombie films in there, eh? And I was like...
You're like, actually, motherfucker, there is.
I was like, well, I guess technically there is not a zombie film in there.
Well, there is.
Deathgasm is technically not a zombie film because they're demons.
Oh, right.
And so anyway, and he was like, he's like, there's a fair few of those around now, isn't there?
You go, well, there's a fair few barbers around too. See ya.
Wouldn't want to be ya. And I was 100% like, I'm not really laughing because what are you saying here? You're saying that I shouldn't have made a zombie film. I spent 5 years of my life doing this.
It's like, yes, we know that when we made the film in 2011, zombies were hot.
Yeah.
And when the film finally came out, because of its extensive delays due to some people's handling of some situations, zombies are no longer hot.
They played out.
It's a thing, but we still spent 4 to 5 years on it. So if you could please just be kind.
Well, I pay you $20 for this haircut.
And go watch it, you piece of shit.
I know. Well, because that was the other day. It was like, oh, yeah. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, it's available now. It's like, oh, yeah. End of story. Like, end of, like, not like, oh, yeah, I'll pick that up, or maybe I'll see it, or anything.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Good for you.
Full stop. Barber, stop trolling me, please.
Yeah.
I do not appreciate it. And, also, there's I'm part of the New Zealand Writers Guild, right? Which basically they have every year SWANs, which is screenwriting and something New Zealand. I don't know. It's for screenwriters.
Yeah.
So it's screenwriting awards, like the Mowers, except just for screenwriting.
Okay.
Now, I have submitted I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Yeah.
I have nominated myself.
All right.
Now, there's nothing sadder than nominating yourself for an award. There's nothing more pathetic than writing who you nominated for, Guy Pigden, nominated by Guy Pigden. And that's what I did.
Why didn't you put my name?
That's what I did. Well, because the person that nominates you
Has to be in the guild or something.
Yeah, has to be in the guild.
Right.
And you can't nominate yourself.
Right.
So I just did the sad, pathetic thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done. So I'm hoping, basically, they announce in October if you're one of the, finalists for this. Now, I'm just hoping, like, to be in the conversation. I'm 100% not expecting to win. But I am hoping that I will be one of just the 5 scripts.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping. And if Deathgasm is also nominated, but mine is not, I will say this.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good, because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur. No! Don't shut me up. This is the second time that he doesn't give a fuck. For fuck's sake. Let's not take a fucking minute. Let's go again! And let's not have you fucking walking in. You're unbelievable, man. You're unfucking believable. Number of times you're strolling and fucking around in the background. That's what that is, man. I'm telling you. I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. Shut up for a second, all right? I'm fucking serious. You're a nice guy. But I don't fucking cut it when you're bullshitting and fucking around like this on set. Seriously, man, you and me, we're fucking done professionally.
That's what I'm going to say. Which, if people don't know what that's from, that's Christian Bale losing his shit on the set of Terminator 4. But that's basically my reaction. Anytime that I feel slighted in the industry, we're going to go to the podcast and we're going to play that clip.
Okay. We're playing that clip a lot then, eh?
You go, so this is going to become a regular segment.
Won't it, Guy? It will, eh? It will, eh, Guy?
Yes, it's quite possible we play that a lot of times. So that's what's been going on.
I wanted to hark back to an episode a couple of weeks ago. I've got a follow-up to a topic we had, which was the Oculus Rift and the possibility of
porn.
of 3D porn, of 3D interactive. I was about to say interracial. Is that too? Interracial interactive porn? So basically, where we left it last time was like, okay, so how's it going to work? And it won't be truly like you're fucking a thing unless you've got like some sort of robot, an automated robot, and yada yada. Now, I did actually look into that, and
you actually spent some time researching this. I did
some research, and yes, they are developing robots that you can fuck in real life that are connected up to the Oculus Rift.
Right.
So you are doing what you see in real life is what you see in the Oculus Rift. You feel in real life using these robots. But more than that, okay, so say you've got an ass in front of you.
Yeah.
A fuckable ass.
Yeah.
You put on the Oculus Rift.
Why would it be an ass?
Well, ass and pussy.
Okay.
or ass and penis if that's what you're into. And you've got this thing there, and basically you're wearing the Oculus Rift, and what you're seeing is something that you've programmed into it, and they're developing this. The Japanese company is developing this, and they're like well into it. And basically, it's a fuckable robot programmed into the Oculus Rift. Now, at the moment, it's just like pre-programmed girls, girls that already exist within the program, right? And they're completely computer generated, so they're not filming a porn with a real girl. They're using like anime style or hentai or whatever the fuck it is. Like animations, and you can fuck these animations, using this robot. Now, the thing is though, that's going to be fucking awesome, but. Yeah. This is going to be really creepy because the obvious next step is that you can create a woman just like you can create, your person in World of Warcraft at the moment. Obviously you're going to be able to create a woman in this porn program.
Yeah, an avatar woman.
An avatar, that's it, right? And so there's no doubt about it. You are going to be able to program in your friends and your friends' girlfriends into this. So people you're going to go, okay, but not just that, right? So you're going to program them and you're going to go, oh yeah, blonde hair, big tits, whatever it is that your friend looks like that you're fantasizing about fucking. But not only that, with Facebook and all that stuff, surely it's not going to be a big stretch to be able to import pictures of the actual person that you know in real life and make a fuckable avatar version of them and fuck them in the Oculus Rift.
Fuck them in the Rift.
Fuck them in the Rift, man. Like, how crazy is that? That is going to lead to some really
dark places.
Well, it's going to lead to some really grey legal areas too. Yeah. Because what's the deal? Imagine if you pick up my Oculus Rift and I've programmed your mum into it, and you pick it up and you look in there and I've got like a porn with your mum.
Yeah.
Now, is that legal? Like,
yeah,
I'm using her images and everything like that, and I've created an avatar of your mum. Like. What does that mean? How does that? What are the legal ramifications of this?
It's mind-boggling.
I'm blown away. I'm blown away by the possibilities here.
The potential.
Because this is only the first generation of this software as well. Down the track, you're going to be able to program in gangbangs with all your friends.
Yeah.
Well,
look, I'll say a couple of things to that though. One, I guess what they'll have to do is it'll have to be a sort of thing where, as part of the program, it has to be accepted, like that image has to be accepted if it's a person.
Yeah.
Maybe,
there'll be a hack.
There'll be a hack. There'll be a patch.
There'll be a patch for that. There will be a patch for that, no doubt about
it. There'll be a patch for that. My penis in the Oculus Rift. So, there's that thing. But I guess the key thing to me of why that doesn't sound great is... every vagina is different.
Yeah.
And
you'd be speculating as to what the other one looks like.
Every penis is different, And so, and every way that you sleep with someone is a little bit different. And so, I guess for me, there is definitely a thrill to programming it. Your friend's girlfriend.
Wait, what? What?
And going, oh, it's my friend's girlfriend. I'm having sex with her.
Yeah. Wait, what?
This is taboo. I'm not meant to be doing this. But at the end of the day, it isn't like you're speculating on the symmetrical nature of their vagina.
Okay, sure, but
so it's not real, man.
Yeah, I know it's not real, but it would still so you've got a crush on some girl at your work, right?
Yeah.
It would be, rather than going home and having a wank about her
and having to use your imagination, gross.
You're still using your imagination, but you would create this program. She's got her nose is slightly smaller than that. And you would adjust the program, and you can create this person inside the Oculus Rift and fuck them.
You're really on board with this.
I'm just saying, that will be, that'll be very interesting. That's wanking. That's next level wanking about your workmates.
It is definitely an evolution. It's an evolution in wanking.
It is.
It's
the first big evolution in wanking since porn.
Yeah, it's one small step for man, one giant leap for wank kind.
Or one small stroke for man, one giant stroke for mankind.
One giant load for mankind. So, like, I see the benefits, of course. But for me, it's really about that hallowed ground of whatever that person really is like.
Of course.
But almost the mystique of it is, it's just like, you're like, okay, having sex with that person, what would that be? What would that be like? Now, to do that in a simulated situation, you're just kind of like...
But, Guy, we're not denying that it's not going to be as good as actually fucking them. I'm not suggesting that. Right. I'm just saying that as far as wanking goes, this is a revolution. And, picture it. You could program in 2 women that you know that you've always wanted to bone but have never boned, right? They don't even know each other. You program them both into this program. You could have a threesome with them.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
I tell you what, man. You don't want to step into your girlfriend's Oculus Rift.
Well, yeah, because it ain't going to be me in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if I checked out Angie's Oculus Rift and there was a short bald man with a hairy back.
And that has given us our biggest laugh on the Guy and Harley podcast. That ridiculous concept that you would be her fantasy has given us our biggest laugh.
So,
well, look, I think that's a good place to sign off.
All right,
I got places to be. I got things to do.
All right. Okay, cool.
On that note,
all right, leave on a high.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, look, if you've got any questions for us, oh shit, that was going to crackle. I dropped the mic. If you've got any questions for us, make sure you let us know in the comments on this podcast. Topics for next week.
You did drop the mic. It's a mic drop because you just made the best joke and walked away.
Yeah, that's it.
Mic drop, walk away.
That's it. Now, so let us know in the comments below if you've got some topics for us for next week. Otherwise, make sure you check out I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. That's on iTunes, and you can get it on DVD at JB Hi-Fi and The Warehouse. And what else, Guy?
Make sure you check out iTunes for this podcast, subscribe to it, and write a review. We're still hanging out for some more reviews.
Yeah.
We're really hanging out for those reviews.
We need those reviews, guys. So please give us a 5-star rating and write a little review. Just say, makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's all we need.
So we will see you same time, same place, next week.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley Podcast. Proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.